I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, the place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and an overall positive message. I'm your host, DJ. And today I want to talk about an interesting conversation that I was having with a random coworker the other day. They were just talking about how one of their friends were talking about doing something that they didn't approve of, that they thought was wrong. But, they were just kind of sitting there silent, just letting them talk and being like, yep, that's crazy. And I was just like, well, your silence is also your acceptance. And so, how that goes. It became a heated conversation after that because nobody wants to hear like, oh, well, I'm telling you that I disagreed with what he was saying. I didn't agree with, I don't agree with what they're saying. But if you're not voicing that, you're also accepting it. If you're not letting them know, hey, that's not right, or hey, I don't agree with that, you're accepting it. You're letting them know that, hey, this is okay. And sometimes silence can be taken as acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe, just maybe, they were reaching out to you and letting you know what they were planning on doing just to see how you reacted, to see if you say, nah, that ain't the right way to handle that, or nah, that ain't the best way to handle that. Nah, there's a better way. Nah, I don't agree with that, man. You shouldn't do that. Or do you just stay silent and be like, oh, yeah, that is crazy, man. That's tough. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of go along with what they're saying. And I, and I, did I, I'm because I'm sitting here trying to think. I think that there was a time when I used to do something very similar, even if I disagreed because I didn't want an argument or I didn't want, this person to be mad at me. I might just, go along, not really saying I agree, but just also just not saying, not giving my true feeling, which is I disagree or you shouldn't do this. I would just kind of to get along, or to keep the peace, as I would have said, back then, to keep the peace. I just wouldn't say anything. But it's like now I understand, like that's not me keeping the peace. That's just me keeping this facade, or just trying to keep them happy, keep them, you know, uh putting on this facade to make sure that they're just not angry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not keeping any peace because I totally disagree with what you're saying. But because I don't want to upset you, I'm putting your feelings before, what I feel is right or what I feel is true. And I had to realize that I have to stop doing that. And I know, especially with one of my friends, I really had to. It's not even so much well, I guess because I did kind of stay silent, but I had to stop being silent, and I had to start being honest about, okay, yeah, what that person did is crazy, but that doesn't mean you go do this or you react this way. And it also doesn't mean, it is also, you got to understand and take accountability for your part that you played and whatever went on. Like, you know, understanding that things do happen, but I also know that you played a role in this, so it got me. So I just became that person. I'm gonna ask questions. Oh, well, why did this happen? Why did this? What happened here? And then as you start to ask questions, you start to get the full story. And you know, I don't I don't want to be the person who feels like, or makes somebody feels like I condone what they're doing or what they're saying because I'm staying silent. I would much rather where I stand, because I would much rather be that friend that tells you, okay, I don't think that that's right. I think that that's wrong. I think that you retaliating isn't the best move, and you be mad at me for it, than for you to do it and something bad happens and it's like, well, dang, why you ain't say nothing to me? If you truly felt that way, why didn't you tell me, hey, I don't think that this is the best move. I don't think that this is the smartest thing to do. I would much rather let you know, hey, this ain't the smartest thing to do and just deal with the consequences. I would much rather be a friend because in my mind, that's what a friend does. I'm willing to tell you what I truly feel. And I feel like a real friendship, it should be able to handle that. A real friendship should be able to handle me not agreeing with you, me being able to tell you that I think that what you're about to do is wrong, or you're doing something for the wrong reasons. You might be trying to do something right, but you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. Like I said in my last episode, me being there for people was right, but I was doing it because I wanted the praise of being there, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. That's the wrong reasons to be doing that. Be there because that's your friend and you want to be there. You want to see them be successful. You want to see them be happy. You want to see them get out of this bad place that they're in. So that's why you're doing it. You're doing it for a good reason. But I would much rather be that friend who's going to be honest with you, open with you, and trust that our friendship is strong enough for us to be able to handle that, for you to be able to handle that, for you to be able to hear me, not hear me attacking you, but to hear me being honest with you and wanting the best for you. And, and giving you my honest opinion on this situation and trusting that you can handle what I'm giving you or what I'm saying to you and not taking it as a personal attack. And now you just ready to end the friendship just because I don't agree with you. And if that's the type of friendship that we have and our friendship is that thin to where me disagreeing with you is enough for us to break up the friendship or for you to leave and not want to speak to me, then is it really a friendship to begin with? You know what I'm saying? And so we were sitting there talking about all of that, and I brought that point up because I'm like, a friendship should be able to handle you being honest with that friend. Y'all bond should be strong enough to where you can be honest with that person about, I don't think that that's the best move. I don't think that that's a smart decision. I don't agree with that. Go do it if you want to do it. But if you were calling me to get validation to do it, I'm not finna do that. I'm finna tell you straight up, that ain't the right move. I don't agree with that. I understand that what they did was dead wrong, and I agree with you that that's wrong. But I'm not finna then turn around and agree with you about you going to do wrong to them just because wrong was done to you. Wrong is wrong all day long. Again, if you want to go do it, cool. But I'm going to be honest with you about what I think and what I feel, and I feel like that's wrong. So, but our friendship should be able to handle that. A real friendship built on trust, built on understanding, built on, us experiencing things together, going through a lot of things together. It should be able to handle that. It should be able to handle us being able to be honest with each other. You should be able to come to me and tell me, I don't agree with what you did. You did something wrong. And I should be able to hear that and be like, okay, even if I don't agree with what you're saying, okay, my friend is giving me their opinion. My friend is telling me that they don't agree with what I did. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't that doesn't mean that this isn't my friend. It just means that they love me enough to be real with me, and they're gonna keep it real with me about the moves that I make and the decisions that I make. And when they don't agree, they'll let me know that they don't agree, and here's the reasons why. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree, but it doesn't have to mean the end of the friendship because we don't agree. And I had to understand that. Like I had to understand that real friendships can handle tough conversations. Real friendships can handle disagreements. You know, real friendships can handle arguments, all of these things. Real friendships can go through these things and it helps build us and we can make it through that because it's stronger than the argument. It's stronger than the disagreement. It's stronger than the fight. Yes, in that moment, because, we're both in this place where we could say some things, some hurtful things that we don't mean just because we're hurt. Now we want to just say some things that hurt the person who just hurt us because that person is close enough to us to hurt us. And because we're hurt, we want to you know what I'm saying, naturally throw a jab to make you feel. We might need to take some space, take some time, but it shouldn't end over somebody being honest with me about how I feel. And of course, obviously, if, it's all about how it's delivered and things like that. And, obviously, I'm not saying egregious things. I know people will find the most extreme example and be like, so I'm just supposed to be okay if my friend does this. I'm not talking about the extreme stuff. I'm just talking about a simple disagreement, or a friend calling and being like, hey, I want to do this. And you being able to be honest enough to be like, yeah, hey, dog, I don't think that's a good idea. Hey, big homie, that ain't the move. That don't sound like the smartest thing. I'm just being honest. You do what you want, but if you were calling again to get validation from me, if you were just calling to get my opinion, nah, that ain't it. That ain't the smartest thing. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about being able to be honest with your friends about what they're saying, or what you're feeling about what they're saying, or what you're feeling about what they're getting ready to do. Being able to be honest with them about that, because I do believe that your silence can be taken as acceptance. Your silence can be taken as you agree with me. You know, if you don't agree, then be vocal about it. And if you are worried that y'all friendship can't handle it, then maybe that isn't a real friendship, because I'm a firm believer that a friendship rooted in, like I said, that trust, going through shared experiences with each other, believing in each other, supporting each other, being there for each other, can withstand, hey, I don't think that's a smart idea. Hey, I don't think that you should do that. I don't think that that's the best decision. I understand what they did to you, and I understand you wanting to do it to them, or do something back, or do something worse. I do understand that feeling. I do understand that emotion. But again, if you're asking me my opinion, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's right. And y'all friendship should be able to handle those conversations. Y'all friendship should be strong enough to be able to voice that, because as as much as, because it's that person doing it, I'm not trying to, and in that moment I wasn't trying to make that person feel guilty, but I was just trying to give my honest opinion. It wasn't about trying to make him feel guilty. It was just about, hey, we might be a part of the problem. We ain't even know might, we are a part of the problem when we don't be honest with our friends. When we hear our friends have an idea, or just out of frustration say that they're going to do something, and we're silent about it, we are a part of the problem. It's just like if we see bullying, or we see this stuff, and we don't say something, we don't tell the teacher, we don't, you know what I'm saying, we just let it happen, we are a part of the problem. So when you hear your friends saying that they're going to do something, you don't agree with it, you are a part of the problem. Not saying that you're just as guilty or on the same level of guilt as them when they go and do it, but we are a part of the problem when we don't, when we're afraid to speak up and let them know, hey, that's not right, or hey, I don't agree with that. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be something else, whatever the case may be. But saying something, just sitting there in silence and just accepting it for what it is, it's like, no, it's got to be a better answer than that. I may not know what that answer is, and that may frustrate people. Like, how you gonna sit here and talk about this, but you don't? That's fair. I can own that. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know that the right answer can't be just sitting there in silence and thinking that, and then being mad at somebody when they like, okay, you were part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Or, your silence is acceptance. I don't think that it's a far fetched leap for me to hear a story, something like that, and be like, yeah, your friend probably thought that you were totally on board with it, because you didn't say otherwise. You know, you being vocal behind the scenes with us, but you got to be just as vocal about it with them, because that's supposed to be your boy. That's supposed to be your friend. That's supposed to be somebody that you really, really rock with. If you can't be truthful and honest with your friends, who can you be truthful and honest with? And so, you know, once he kind of got past the emotions of everything, and it was just like, kind of, he could kind of sit with it and hear me when I was, and realize that I wasn't attacking him, but just giving my opinion on something. He could kind of get where I was coming from. And again, we didn't agree on everything. You know, he didn't agree with me 100%, but he could at least understand better where I was coming from once he quit looking at it as me trying to attack him, and just me simply saying, for anyone, not just him specifically, for anyone, for me. That's why I do my best to try to include myself, because I don't want my message to get lost in, oh, well, you just trying to attack me, or you think that you perfect. No, I go through a lot of the exact same things that I talk about, which makes it more comfortable for me to talk about, which gives me more evidence to back up what I'm trying to say, because I've been through it and I've experienced it and I understand it. You know, so now I understand, hey, if this friendship cannot handle us disagreeing on something, then it's not much of a friendship there. If I can't be, or if I feel like I can't be honest with you about what you're going through or what you're telling me, if I can't give you an honest opinion, honest feedback, then this ain't really a friendship. I just went through this with somebody, and we've agreed that, we just don't need to talk, because I can't give an honest opinion without I couldn't give an honest opinion without that person feeling attacked. You know what I'm saying? And I get it, because me and that person also have history of going back and forth with each other and taking personal digs at each other. So when they hear from me, they don't hear this version of me, this version that's healing, this version that's getting to a better place. They don't hear this version of me. They hear the version of me that used to just go back and forth with them. So everything feels like a dig. Everything feels like an attack. Everything feels personal. Everything feels like I'm trying to prove that I'm better than them, when it should be, man, my friend is just trying to help me. My friend is just giving their honest opinion. My friend loves and cares about me enough to say, hey, I don't think that this move is the right move for you. I don't think that this move is productive for you. I don't think that this move is going to do for you what you think that it's going to do. I don't think that it's the healthiest and smartest move for where you are in life right now. They aren't hearing that. What they're hearing is, I'm better than you and I know more than you. And because I'm in therapy, I'm in a better place than you. You're less than da 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 da. That's all they hear. They hear nana nana boo boo, instead of hearing a friend who is, at least in a healthier mental and emotional space, seeing something negative and is trying to give me some advice, to help steer me in the right direction. So I can understand that we're not in the best of spaces for me to be able to have an honest conversation, because no matter how sincere I am, or no matter how hard I try to make it not seem like an attack, it was going to seem like an attack, because it was coming from me. That same message that I tried to give could come from someone else, and it could be like, oh, I get it. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I understand now. But because it's coming from me and they only see me as who I was, then they're not giving me the opportunity to show them that I'm someone different now, so they don't hear it. They're not hearing it from a place of love. They don't understand that it's coming from a place of love, a place of understanding, a place of non-judgment. They hearing it from the voice of the person who at one point in time would go back and forth with them, and would try to do the personal digs and stuff like that. And so again, me being understanding, I understand that it is frustrating because you want to be there for the friend. I want to be there for my friend, but I have to understand that they're not in a place to where they can hear me, this version of me. They can only they filter every word that I say through who I used to be. And that's how they see me. They don't see me as anything else. They don't see the growth. They'll see the growth if I'm talking about something else. So let me rephrase that. When I'm talking about something that they're doing, they don't see the growth. They just see me as the person who I was when we would go back and forth and be negative and hateful towards each other. But when I'm speaking on someone else, or speaking of something else, or when I'm speaking on my own self, then they can see the growth and how much I've grown and how much better and how much more understanding I can be. But when I go to speak about them, they don't see that. They don't see the growth. They just see me as who I used to be. And because of that, we understand and we realize now that maybe this friendship just is not going to work, because I'm a firm believer in we have to be honest with our friends. We should be able to be honest with our friends. If our friends are messing up, and I mean effing up real bad, we should be able to tell them, this ain't no, this ain't smart, this ain't this. You you need to do better. You should be doing better. This isn't you. You're making the same mistake. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to have those conversations with our friends without our friends getting so hurt and so defensive to where now we can't even be friends anymore. I can understand you not being ready to receive what I'm saying. You're not being ready to hear what I'm saying. So of course you're going to take it as an attack because you're not ready to hear it. You're not ready to hear from the people that you care about that you're doing wrong, or that you're messing up, or that you're being a screw up, just for lack of a better word. You're being a screw up. Of course it's going to feel like an attack when you're not ready to hear it. And so again, we just came to a mutual understanding of, okay, well then this really can't work, because if I can't be honest with you, and I have to be honest with you about the fact that I can't be honest with you, but since I can't be honest with you, I don't think that this friendship is going to work, because it makes no sense to not be able to be honest with your friend without them taking every single thing as a personal attack. And that's okay. That's okay for them. That's okay for me. I don't wish them any harm. I don't know anger, no bad feelings. I wish them well. And hopefully at some point down the line, we're able to be in a space where we can have honest dialogue back and forth about what we do, what the other person does, and there's no personal feelings or no hate towards the person who's just giving the feedback and being honest about what they're going through. But I say all of that again to say, I just firmly believe that being silent is also being accepting. Not telling your friend, or not telling that family member, not telling that person who's close to you, not being honest with that person about how you feel, is just it's accepting. It's you being a part of that. So if you see somebody bullying somebody and you don't say something, or you don't get in there, you are a part of the problem. You are part of the issues that's going on, to why so many things are slipping through the cracks, is because we're not saying anything. We're not being vocal with the people. And I mean, I understand, right, that, like I said, you want to keep the peace. I do understand that. But how is it that I don't see what type of peace you're keeping if what you're hearing from your friend or your family member, whoever it may be that's close to you, it could be your spouse, whoever it is, and you don't agree with it, and you feel like you can't you can't speak on how you truly feel, especially again if it's something that you genuinely don't agree with, you genuinely don't think that this is a good idea, you genuinely don't think that, hey, you're not in the right headspace right now. I think that you need to just take a few days to get away, be to yourself, and really rethink these decisions that you're getting ready to make. Because I think that you're making decisions from a place of anger and from a place of hate, and that's not okay. I don't think that that's ever okay. And then if they want to, and again, for me personally, if they want to throw in my face what you did, you're right. And when I did it, it was not okay. And I wish that I would have had people in my ear letting me know how not okay it was at the time when I was getting ready to do it, or when I was plotting it, or when I was thinking it, but I didn't. And I'm not going to do that for you because I know better. And now that I know better, I'm going to do better. So now that I know, hey, you're not in the right mental space to be making these type of decisions, I'm going to say it. Now, if you still end up doing it, cool. You have to deal with those consequences. But what you won't be able to say is that I came to you, I told you this, I told you that, and you didn't tell me otherwise. You didn't tell me that wasn't a smart decision. You didn't tell me. No, you're going to be like, yeah, DJ, you know what? You did tell me that. I didn't listen. I did because I didn't care. My emotions were high, and that's what I wanted to do in that moment. But you were a good friend, and you at least told me, hey, that might not be the smartest decision because you're gonna have to deal with those consequences that come behind this. Just take a breather, take a couple of days, see how you feeling after your emotions have calmed down. I'm going to always try my best to be that voice of reason, especially if people come to me. Now if they don't come to me and I have no idea, hey, but if they come to me and it's something that I don't agree with, then I just don't agree with it. I think another good example, I had a friend who was going through trouble with their partner, and it's just like at some point in time, it was the same old stuff. It was the same old situations, or very very similar situations, and it's just like, okay, at some point you got to just accept that person for who they are. You may not like it, you may not respect it, but this is who this person is. And so when they keep showing up as themselves, you can't keep getting mad, because at some point you have to own the fact that this is who this person is, this is who they are, this is how they are, this is who they're become, not even becoming, this is who they've always been. You wanting them to be something different, you wanting them to um, move a different way, or act a different way, or react a different way. That's you wanting them to be something different than who they are. But you got to accept them for who they are. And if you can't, then, be honest about the fact that you can't, and let them go. I'm not going to keep sitting here entertaining this and not being honest with you about the fact that, okay, but this is who they are. This is who they've been. This is who they've shown you they are. You know this. I don't know this person, and just based off of the few conversations that we've had, I know that they're gonna react this way. I know that they're gonna handle the situation a certain way, because that's who they've shown you they are. At some point, you got to be honest with yourself and own the fact that, or accept the fact that this is who this person is. And if you can't handle that, if you don't like that, cool, let that person go, instead of instead of trying to change that person, or instead of trying to get you from that person because you want them to react the way you would react, or you want them to respond the way you would respond, or you want them to think the way you would think. That's not who they are, and you got to own that fact. You can't keep penalizing them for being exactly who they told you they are. It's time to let it go if you can't accept who they are and how they react and all of those things. If that's just not you, cool, let it go. But that's me being honest with my friend. about, hey, I understand what you're going through, but you putting yourself through this stuff at this point, you're putting yourself through this because this person has shown you time and time again who they are and how they move, how they do things. It's time for you to decide whether you can accept them being them for them, you accept them for who they are and how they do things, or you can't. And if you can't, then it's time to let that go. But I had to be honest with my friend, because if I'm not being honest with them and I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's crazy. Dang, that's tough. They're not seeing like, okay, you're a part of the problem because you keep expecting something different. You keep expecting this person to show up as something that they're not, someone that they're not. They're not going to be you. They're going to be themselves, and they're going to show up as themselves every single time. And every single time they showed up as themselves, you get mad because you expect them to be you. You expect them to react the way you react, think the way you think. And that's not fair to you, because you're torturing yourself, and it's not fair to them because that's just not who they are. And you got to accept that. But I had to be honest with my friend and have an honest conversation with them about what I was seeing, at least from my perspective. Again, I know I've said on here before, I'm no relationship guru, I'm no marriage guru. I haven't had a successful relationship. So only thing I can speak on is what I know. And I know what I'm going through in therapy. I'm knowing how to identify certain things about myself. I'm learning how to identify my triggers. I'm learning to identify and accept there are things that I cannot control. And what I can't control is how someone else is. I can't change this person. If this person moves a certain way, and now they've shown me several times that this is how they're going to move, now I have to expect that when something happens, they're going to move the way that they've shown me they're going to move. I can't expect them to out of nowhere start moving the way I move, because that's not fair to me. That's not fair to them. It's unrealistic. But so I understand that, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been through that. But, you know, it's just all about honest conversation. Stop being silent. Stop allowing your silence to mean acceptance for the foolish, for the stuff that you hear. I was about to say the foolishness, but yeah, sometimes it is straight foolishness that you hear. Your silence can be taken as acceptance. So speak up. And if you feel like you can't, then that may not be a friendship you need to keep, because what is the point of having a friendship where you cannot be honest with the person that you're in the friendship with? Start reevaluating those friendships. If you honestly feel like you cannot be honest with this person, that's not a real friendship, and that's not something that you need to be around or need to be involved in. You should be able to be honest with the people that you call your friends, that friendship group. You should be able to be honest with them about everything. But that's it for today's episode. I want to thank everybody for listening on whatever platforms y'all are listening to the podcast on. I appreciate and I love y'all. To everybody watching on YouTube, I appreciate and I love y'all too. Please continue to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until the next time we meet, y'all already know, stay blessed.